All right, Ian, we have a Patreon poll topic, Ian.
We do. You go to patreon.com/CE podcast. You go.
It's like a vending machine, Ian, right?
It's like a vending machine.
Sometimes you got to bang on it to get out things that run the little.
Yeah, you press the tier buttons and you insert your dollars and things come out. Speaking of banging on the machine, I've got to get. I'm a day behind on a writing, so I've got to get a writing done today, maybe tomorrow morning. I know what I'm going to write about though. I got a couple games I've been playing.
What about Cobra Kai?
I could also write about Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Oh, there you go.
I could write about the new Captain Tsubasa game. That's the soccer game with crazy special moves. Yeah, I've been playing some stuff.
So Ian writes, he does a Google Hangout once a month. It probably won't be this weekend, maybe the weekend after, because I might do mine this weekend.
I was going to say I could do mine this weekend.
And then also, we have Patreon poll topic you vote on every week. And unfortunately, this week you will not hear my beautiful dulcet tones. In third place, are Nintendo fans being entitled or wanting a Nintendo Direct, or should Nintendo have better communication with their fans? 24%. Why don't they just announce the new Zelda game?
Yeah.
Nintendo's doing fine with that. In second place, tips for a new game store, employ 30%. And in first place, Ian, are there games that you associate with going back to school?
So this was an interesting one because sometimes it's tough for us to come up with these topics. Mondays usually involve a period of silence where Pat and I try to think of something to add to the poll topic. We've been doing this for 7 years now.
Over 7 years.
We've been doing this for 7 years.
Just like GTA Online. It turned to GTA Online. Yeah.
So we've been doing this for 7 years, so sometimes it's hard to come up with these questions. And sometimes Pat and I will just we'll say things that sound like they could be a reasonable question and then realize that there's no real answer to it. Well, Pat said, games that remind you of going back to school. I'm like, that's a weird thing to think of, but I do. Right. I have 2 games that remind me of going back to school.
You didn't say it was weird yesterday.
Well, no, in my head, I was like, that's weird, but I immediately realized that there are actually 2 games that make me think of going back to school.
I'm not as stupid as I look.
No, I didn't say you were, but you were like, I don't know that I have any. And I was like, actually.
No, I said in the phone I had a couple.
You were like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just talk about Civilization again.
Well, I will talk about Civilization 2 again.
Yeah, so they're
there's
behind the curtain.
There's more than that.
I have 2 games that remind me of going back to school. The first one is Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII came out on 9/7/97, I believe, was the release date of it. So that would have been right around that time. That was my freshman year of high school. And it reminds me of going back to school because, well, it came out then, but I was with my first girlfriend at the time, and I did not have a PlayStation 1 yet. But I pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII because I was like, this game looks like it's going to be fun. She had a PlayStation 1, and I was like, well, we can fuck around and play this. And she was very nice to me, and she lent me her PlayStation on weekends, and I played through Final Fantasy VII before I actually owned my own PlayStation. I didn't get a PlayStation until that.
Your girlfriend let you borrow her PlayStation?
Yeah, she let me borrow her PlayStation on weekends to play Final Fantasy VII.
When was she going to be playing it?
She was generally over at my place watching me play Final Fantasy VII.
So she just brought it. It sounded like she just dropped it off.
Well, no, she would leave it there. She lent me the PlayStation on the weekends. I don't know how simpler to make it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very nice of her. And then I would give her the game, and she would play the game during the week. So we were roughly on the same page with Final Fantasy VII. We were kind of playing it in unison. I had her PlayStation on weekends, and she took the game on the weekdays. A weird little custody thing there with games and systems. But I'll always remember it because I remember leaving middle school. Like I said, this was my freshman year. Leaving middle school, video games were very unpopular still. Going into my freshman year of high school, the PlayStation was getting more and more popular. It had received a price drop or 2 by that point, and this Final Fantasy VII game came out and blew everyone away with all of its fucking cutscenes and shit like that. And suddenly, people that I had never talked to about video games before were talking to me about video games because Final Fantasy VII was this, big thing that people were partaking in. It was one of the first times I remember a role-playing game or a story-based video game kind of being like an event. that people talked about in social circles at school. The other one that reminds me of going back to school is Sonic Adventure. The Dreamcast came out on 9/9/99. So that would have been right around the beginning of school again. And that was also when I got my wisdom teeth pulled. And I got my Dreamcast and I got Sonic Adventure on launch day. I think it was the first system I paid for entirely by myself. I just paid for it with restaurant money. And got home and was bummed because I ended up with one of the copies of Sonic Adventure that was... what's the word I'm looking
glitch?
for? Yeah, flawed. Basically, there was a print run of Sonic Adventure that just did not work when it came out. It wouldn't run on any Dreamcast system. It was just a defective. That's the word I'm looking for. Jesus.
Are those worth any money nowadays?
No.
I wonder. No.
And every once in a while, we still get one at Luna, and then I promptly just destroy it.
Is there anything on... You destroy it?
Yeah, I toss it. So it doesn't fucking get sold again and again and again to people for money that they can't play.
Is there anything that on the outside that you can tell it and you can't?
No. So I couldn't play it and I was upset, bummed. Got my wisdom teeth out. I remember GameStop calling me and being like, "Hey, we've got your replacement copy of Sonic Adventure in." My mom went and picked it up for me, and I played through that game that weekend on painkillers, constantly rinsing blood out of my mouth. But I beat the entire game. So that one always reminds me of going back to school.
Okay.
What about you?
Oh, sorry. I was looking to see if they're on eBay, any defective Sonic Adventures, if they're actually worth anything or not, because I had no idea. I never thought about that. What was the limited edition one that they put out? I know there's a limited edition one. Anyway, so I'll just go over Civilization 2 again, because that was more summer, but I played Civilization 2 sophomore. It was the sophomore year summer vacation, and I did that instead of doing my summer reading. So I fudged some of my tests coming back from summer reading that fall. I'll just say I fudged some of them. And I read some, there was the little fucking synopsis books. What the hell are they called?
Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, there was another brand though that was better than that some of us knew about that was a little more fleshed out.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but there is another one. Yes.
So I might have read some of that, but I would also read the first chapter of some of the books. I did 90% of my summer reading. I managed to catch up. For God's sakes, I read Great Expectations, I think, that summer, or one of the summers. And it's still one of my favorite books. So Civilization 2, absolutely. But then I thought about, Ian, it's really the fall. We're talking about the fall, back to school, September.
Sure.
Mortal Monday was in September of 93.
Yeah, you're right.
That was a big deal. My friend got the game. I didn't get it. My friend Joey, he was the athletic, all-around good kid that I'd hang out with after school sometimes because he lived like 5 blocks from the school. So he didn't have to. He walked home. So sometimes I just walk home with him. My mom would pick me up. We had these like half days once a month for teacher conference stuff. So you get out like 12. Sure. It was great. It was like the first Wednesday of every month or something, or second Wednesday. You get out at 12 o'clock. So you had the whole day to play. You had 5 hours to play. That's like porn to a kid. It's ridiculous. You play street hockey, some street tennis here and there. We'll actually walk to the real tennis courts. So that September, he got Mortal Kombat. And he got both. His brother and him, they had Genesis and Super Nintendo. So we played the Super Nintendo version. I'm like, wow, this is horrible. But then we played the Genesis version. I'm like, wow, there's blood, but this is still horrible.
Yeah.
And they're both not good games.
No, they're both very bad.
But I'll remember that as long as I live, is that he had the blood code going already, because that was known pretty early when the game came out, or they basically freely advertised it for the Genesis one. We played Mortal Kombat. And the first thing I said was, wow, that looks lame, seeing Johnny Cage put half his leg into the guy's chest. I was like, that's kind of weird. But I'll never remember that because that was like literally like 2 weeks into school year, playing that. That's when you're still like not sick of school yet. Like the first few weeks of school, it's like, nothing major yet, no major projects, maybe a couple of tests, a couple of weeks in. Like you're not into school yet, a couple of weeks in. The reality hasn't sunk in yet where you like, I want to kill myself. I hated. There were some years at grade school I dreaded because I hated my teacher so much. I dreaded going to school every day. Like that wasn't made up. Like I dreaded going to school in like 3rd grade, 4th grade. I dreaded going to school.
6th grade, I dreaded.
By 7th and 8th, I didn't care as much, but I dreaded it.
By 8th grade, I didn't mind so much because I had by 8th grade I didn't mind so much because I had made some friends. 7th grade wasn't the worst, but 6th grade was not good.
Wasn't good, and I was a good student too. And it's like, I was picked on, but other kids were picked on too. That wasn't part of it. I just dreaded some of my teachers.
No, I hated that. That's what I with 6th grade for me. It was weird because I had gone from Catholic school up until 4th grade. Then from 4th grade, I went to public school in 5th grade. So I went from knowing everyone to 1 year in the local elementary school. And then immediately into middle school. So it was just all this changing shit, but it wasn't necessarily the kids. Like that I can deal with. There were some assholes, but I genuinely hated most of my teachers my 6th grade year.
Sure. Yeah, we didn't do the class rotation like middle school style until like 6th or 7th grade, where before that it was just the one teacher teaches you everything, or they'd have maybe one teacher swap out to teach you science. But for the most part, for the first up until 5th grade, that one teacher taught you mostly everything.
Right.
Like not all, but maybe like 80% before we started doing the rotations, where you'd have your one teacher teach you what they were special at. Then you'd have 3 other teachers that would teach other stuff. But for the first 4 years, no, that you were stuck with that asshole teacher teaching you science and math and English and everything else. So it's worse than high school. High school I didn't mind that much. High school with the class rotations, it was fine to me. But I still have some of my nightmares. My nightmares are mostly all school themed. My nightmares consist of me, as an aside, waking up or Sunday night realizing I didn't write a 10-page paper due next morning, missing my school bus in grade school, which happened a couple times, which is horrifying as a kid, or not remembering where my locker is in high school. Not remembering my combination, not knowing where my locker is. Because I forgot my combination once in high school and I had to cut it somehow. I don't know how. Because I still remember my lock combination. I still own the lock literally from 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago here. 25 years ago. Holy shit, I'm old. But those are my nightmares. Sorry. All right. So back to games that remind us to go back to school. So got Mortal Monday.
Got fucking whiplash.
From what? Sorry. My nightmares are very specific and always about school.
I have a nightmare a lot that I forget to put on shoes and socks, and I'll be sitting on like a train and I'll be like, why? What
on a train specifically?
Yeah, like on a train or a bus, and I'm
that's
like,
disgusting on a bus.
Why the
socks.
fuck do I not have shoes and socks on? It's awful.
Fumigate your feet after that. Fucking Lysol the shit out of them. I'm trying to think any other ones. Street Fighter 2 that came out in like July, so that
I was gonna say I remember
that's
that as
more
a summer game. Yeah.
So that I more associate with summer. I remember bringing it down the shore of Seaside Heights and playing that in the little fucking 14-inch TV in the front of the house and the little porch area.
The summer that came out, I mean, that game was fucking everywhere. I played it at my friend Kevin's house. Speaking of, it makes sense with Cobra Kai. I went to a black belt mill for a little while myself.
Black Belt Mill?
That's what I call them. Like the fucking little strip mall karate studios that just churn out fucking, yay, everyone gets a belt.
In the 80s, yeah.
Everyone gets a belt.
Hey, pay me $300 to get you a yellow belt.
I remember Taz. That was his name. I remember Taz. After fucking, instructions that summer, we'd wheel out this little fucking TV and we'd fucking sit there and play Street Fighter after karate.
You never told me you did karate, ever.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit the heavy bag out there. I want to see your reverse punch.
I can't fucking throw a punch. It's gonna fucking shatter my neck bones.
I gotta get you on some yoga. People were bringing up, what about Madden games going back to school and FIFA? I never played FIFA games ever. I had a couple of Madden games as a kid. I had Madden 93 on Super Nintendo, but it's a little bit past September. But they came out in September. NHL games always remind me of going back to school because Billy would always get the new one on the Genesis. So like he had NHL 92 and 93. So we would always, we'd always play those. That's late September. Those came out sometime in September. So that's back to school. So it'd be good old street hockey followed by playing.
Was the Billy you knew an asshole as well?
Oh yeah, Billy. I told the story one time when he'd be nice when he threw me in the puddle.
Yeah.
He would be nice, but then his parents were assholes, so he would turn on me and act like a dick one day. So then I say, I'd say basically, screw you, I'd go home. Then he'd call and apologize. So like he was a troubled kid.
Sure.
Kevin was just a dick.
I knew a Billy in when I was in Catholic school. That was he was like, I remember somewhere around like second grade, he got too cool for fucking school and started to become an asshole. And
okay.
I'll always remember him giving me and this other kid shit, and we were sick of it. And this was like second grade. So I feel like I've told this story on here before. It's one of my favorite stories. So little Billy the asshole gets up and walks away.
Little Billy the asshole
gets up and walks away. And my friend decides he's going to do one of the biggest things I've ever seen someone do at lunch. He's going to sacrifice his Hostess cupcake to the greater good. He takes his Hostess cupcake and puts it on Billy's chair. Billy comes back and sits on the Hostess cupcake, cream and chocolate all over the back of his pants. Looks like he shit himself. I never saw a kid go from I'm a hard ass to I'm in tears so quick in my life, and I feel like an asshole laughing about it because I will always. It was second grade, man. I'll never forget this kid just thinking he was the coolest, being an asshole, sitting on a Hostess cupcake and just melting the fuck down in the cafeteria.
All right, I was thinking to say like fifth grade, second grade. You're like 7 years old still.
Fuck that kid. Anyways,
so go back to my bill. Yeah, so actually, yeah. So on the Genesis, NHL '93 came out September '92. So I remember the first NHL on Genesis we played a lot. Obviously, that was NHL '91 was the first one on Genesis. It was this NHL hockey 91, 92, 93. So we played '92 and '93 a lot. They would actually play him, and Randy was a dick down the street. Randy would push me around because they were 2 years older than me. And 2 years old, we said was a lot when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Between 10 and 8 or whatever, or 11 and 13. So they would play season stats because it wasn't kept track in the game. They would actually record their own stats on like paper. So that was cool. I think he played as Brett Hull in the Blues. You know, oh yeah, real tough with Brett Hull with his fucking slap shot went in half the time he shot it in those games. Jesus Christ, sorry. God, I need a blue sweater. I always like that symbol. So that's it. So yeah, NHL, Mortal Kombat, Civilization for me, Doom. I will always associate Doom with Back to School. In particular, I think Doom 2. And I'm not sure it came out in September.
Yeah, I remember yeah.
When did Doom come out? No, Doom came out in October.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Back to School. So this is how it happened with Doom. It was my sophomore year. I don't think I had Doom 2. I didn't have Doom 2 when it came out the first year. I don't think I did. Or I had the demo maybe. So this was my... No, it was freshman year. That was my freshman year. I had my physics class. No, biology. Biology class, they partnered you up with someone not your same age. He was a sophomore, the kid next to me.
Okay.
Pretty nice kid. And he managed to get... Well, somehow he copied Doom 2 onto some floppies and he gave him to Pat. Well, it was on like 3 floppies or so.
You copied the floppy.
He copied the 3.5 diskette, and that's how I played Doom 2. He gave it to me, and that must have been late October. I'd say it's back to school. My freshman year, I made a good friend, and Pat may have gotten maybe 2 discs to combine for a 12-second porn video. I forget that it was on like 2 different discs, and they had to be combined. What was the combining program back then? Do you remember what it was?
I can't.
F-disc or whatever the fuck it was?
Yeah, something like that.
And it was like, because this is like right when the internet was starting to get, bigger. 94. I don't think we were fully online yet in 94. We could do the trials and stuff. We were starting in 94. But seeing like a 12-second video in grainy, like 120 by 80, resolution, that was a special experience.
I remember. I recall.
But I'll never forget, I think it was on 2 floppies. It wasn't even on 1. So it's like, the anticipation of like combining the 2 floppies together,